Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is your English instructor, Miss Kainat Kamal, and I welcome you all to the lecture 16th of English Compulsory Class 2nd Year. Dear students, as you all know that we are on our unit number 2 with the theme of hope and aspiration. And today we are going to start our reading selection 2.2, that is a speech named Glory and Hope, and it is also known as Inaugural Speech by Nelson Mandela. Dear girls, please pardon me my voice because I am not feeling well. I have got flu and cough. So I try to be clear to you people, and if you got any query, any problem, you are very much welcome to our WhatsApp groups. Okay, so today we are going to start the reading of the chapter, the reading of the speech, and we have already discussed about the background of the speech, and we have already discussed about the introduction of the author, Nelson Mandela. Okay, dear students, I have just pasted this much text on the slide, and you all are highly requested to please open up your books in front of you. That is page number 56, reading selection 2.2, Glory and Hope, Nelson Mandela. And I start with, Your Majesties, Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, comrades and friends. So Nelson Mandela has started his speech by welcoming the dignitaries, the royals, his mates, his companions, his friends, those who are sitting in front of him during this inaugural speech. Comrades means companion or mates. Today, all of us do, by our presence here and by our celebrations in other parts of our country and the world, confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. So he has started his speech by addressing the dignitaries, the royals, his mates, his companions, his friends. And he says that we all are here today. The reason of our presence here and the celebrations, not only here but other parts of the countries and the world as well, they are conferred. Conferred means to bestow or to grant. So we are granting this celebration, the togetherness of us today here. We confer, we bestow, we grant this to the glory and hope to newborn liberty. Now here when he says glory and hope to newborn liberty, he basically means that liberty of Negroes, the freedom of Negroes that they have get. Out of experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. So, out of experience of an extraordinary human disaster, he says that he wanted to say, or by this line, he means that the sufferings of the Negroes, all their sufferings that they have faced, that injustice, that inequality, that the freedom that they did not have, and that slavery. So he says that out of all those experiences, the bad experiences of an extraordinary human disaster, that definitely that sufferings of the Negroes have a sort of disastrous effect on their lives. He says that lasted too long must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. Okay, whatever has been done to us, it has been now ended. And now we have to start with a new society, with a new country, with a new nation over which humanity will feel proud of. Our daily deeds as ordinary South Africans must produce an actual South African. reality that will reinforce humanity's belief in justice. He says that we should not we should not be treated as an ordinary South Africans anymore. We should be treated as an actual South African. And the reality is, reinforce means to regain, and that will definitely, when we would be treated as an actual South African, the reality will definitely regain humanity's belief in justice. It will strengthen its confidence in the nobility of the human soul and sustain all our hopes for a glorious life for all. Nobility means virtues, sustains mean keep. So he says that we should not be treated as an ordinary South African, rather, we should be treated as an actual South African. We should be treated equal, and the reality is that will produce, that would regain, the treatment would regain the humanity's belief in justice. It would strengthen its confidence in the virtues of human soul, and it would also keep all our hopes for a glorious life for all. And by glory they mean equality, freedom, justice. All this we owe both to ourselves and to the peoples of the world who are so well represented here today. Peoples, he say, and he here refers to the participation of the delegates from different countries. To my compatriots means to friends, companions, I have no hesitation in saying that each one of us is as intimately attached to the soil of this beautiful country as are the famous jacaranda trees of Pretoria and the mimosa tree of Bushveld. Pretoria is the administrative capital of South Africa. Basically, South Africa has two other capitals, the legislative capital and the Cape Town or judicial capital. So here he has used a simile that we are attached, we are patriots, we are attached to the soil of this beautiful country as are the famous jacaranda trees of Pretoria and mimosa trees of Bushveld. As like the trees in different parts of the country, they are attached with their soil, same as we are attached with this beautiful country. We feel the same pain for this country and we share the same feelings for this country as whites are. Each time one of us touches the soil of this land, we feel a sense of personal renewal. Each time one of us touches the soil of this land, whosoever from us, he or she comes in this land, enters in this land, puts his or her feet on this very land, on this very soil, we feel a sense of personal renewal. It seemed as if we have been reborn. It seemed as if we have given a new birth. The national mood changes as the seasons change. Again, a simile. And by this phrase, he means that the national mood changes as the seasons change, like the transitional period in this country, in this nation. Like someday you say something else, but you practice something else. So that is the reason he says that we are very much, like we are highly attached to the soil, to the land of this beautiful country. We feel the same pain, we share the same feelings to this part of the world as like others. We are moved by a sense of joy and exhilaration when the grass turns green and the flowers bloom. Exhilaration means excitement, act of making glad or cheerful. So we are moved by a sense, metaphorically he says that we are moved by a sense of joy and excitement when the grass turns green and the flower blooms. Basically, he is portraying the spring season to us, and by portraying that spring season, he wants to say that when there is happiness, when there is prosperity in our nation, when we all are together, we share the same table, we share the same feelings, we share the same land. So when we all are together, that is the time of spring in our country, in our nation. So we are very much overjoyed, we are highly excited by this spring season, when the moods of the people, when they all are excited, when they all are happy. Metaphorically, he is basically say that spiritual and the physical oneness we all share with this common homeland explains the depth of the pain we all carried in our hearts as we saw our country tear itself apart in terrible conflict. So, spiritual and physical oneness, like there are two types of oneness, like many oneness are there, but here he has only talked about spiritual and the physical one. Physical oneness means when you live in a country, when you live at some place, when you own that place by having your own place at that very part of the world. But spiritual oneness means you do not live there, you do not go there, but still you feel that pain for that part of the world. You still feel that, like, you have the feelings of that patriotic feelings you have. That is basically the spiritual oneness. So he say that we all share, we the Negroes, we all share the spiritual as well as the physical oneness with this common homeland. Common homeland, when he says this thing, he wants to say that common means the homeland of whites and blacks. Explains the depth of the pain we all carried in our hearts as we saw our country tear itself apart in terrible conflict. It is a personification that giving human like qualities to inanimate objects. So he says that we all Negroes, we carry the same pain in our hearts when we saw our country tear itself apart in terrible conflict, the conflict of racial segregation, the conflict of whites and blacks, the conflict of this discrimination on the basis of color. And as we saw it spurned mean rejected, rejection, outlawed and isolated by the peoples of the world. He is talking about the country, basically, the nation he is talking about. Precisely because it has become the universal base of the pernicious ideology and the practice of racism and racial oppression. He says that it has become the universal base of wicked ideology. What ideology he's talking about? The ideology of racial segregation on the basis of color and the practice of racism. He is black, he cannot enter this city. He is black, he cannot enter this hotel of the city. He is black, he cannot stand in the line of the whites. This racism, this wicked ideology he is basically talking about. And the racial oppression. Yes, Negroes, they were oppressed. They were oppressed in the hands of this so-called ideology, I would say, this racial segregation, this apartheid movement. We, the people of South Africa, feel fulfilled that humanity has taken us back into its bosom. Humanity has taken us back into its bosom is again a personification. Like humanity means, yeah, we have got our rights. We all are now equal. We have our privileges and basic human rights. It means that the humanity has taken us into his arms, into his bosom, that we who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be the host to the nations of the world on our own soil. Basically, this nation was the this nation was of Negroes. They were the real inhabitants of that soil, of that land that has been snatched from their hands on the basis of this racial segregation, on the basis of this racism. So he says that now we feel fulfilled that humanity has taken, the world has taken us into its bosom, the world has welcomed us. The other part of the world that has always treated us bad, they have taken us into their bosom, into their into their arms, and we are no more the separate nation of the world. We are no more the oppressed side of the society. We are no more the discriminated side of the society. And now we have got this privilege to be the host to the nations, those who come to visit South Africa, those who live there. We have got this privilege to be the host to the nations of the world on our own soil. This very sentence shows the ownness of Negroes towards their own land, that is South Africa. Okay, moving towards the next page, that is page number 57, and I hope you all are following me. We thank all our distinguished international guests because in that very inaugural speech, the delegates from different countries, they have also participated. So now here he basically thanks all the audience. We thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession. Possession means liberty with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. Now, these all are basically humanity's belief. Peace is humanity's belief. Human dignity is humanity's belief. Justice is humanity's belief. So he says that we all are together here on a common cause, on a common victory of justice, peace, and human dignity. We trust that you will continue to stand by us as we tackle the challenges of building peace. Tackle means face. Now here he is basically addressing the international guests, those who have come from different countries, from different nations. So he says that we trust you that you will continue to stand by us as we have faced the challenges of building peace, prosperity, non-sexism, non-racialism, and democracy. Non-sexism means gender discrimination. So he says that we have stepped forward in order to eradicate this very evil from the society, the evil of non-sexism, the evil of non-racialism, and the evil of racism and sexism. So now we have come on a same page, we have come on a common victory, on a common cause of eradicating this evil from the society, and we all are together in the challenge of building peace, prosperity, non-sexism, non-racialism, and democracy in the world. Not only in that part, but in the world. We deeply appreciate the role that the masses of our people and their democratic, religious, women, youth, business, traditional, and other leaders have played to bring about this conclusion. The conclusion of this freedom, this victory of Negroes. Not at least among them is my second deputy president, the Honorable F.W.D. Clark. So he only mentions the name of his deputy president, F.W.D. Clark, and he says that I deeply appreciate the role of the masses, the role of the people, the role of those who were in this challenge of facing different oppressions, different discriminations in the society. So I means Nelson Mandela. He appreciates the roles of the masses, the role of the people. And especially he mentions the name of his deputy president, F.W.D. Clark. We would also like to pay tribute. Now, he if you could analyze, he did not use this very word I, rather he say we, because he is representing the whole Negro community. He is representing all the blacks, not he himself is here the president, but it is not only the victory of Nelson Mandela alone, but the victory of all the blacks, those who were oppressed. So that is the reason, rather saying I, he said we would also like to pay tribute to our security forces in all their ranks for the distinguished role, the roles that have been assigned to them. They have played in securing our first democratic elections that was held in 1994, and the transition to democracy from bloodthirsty forces. Bloodthirsty forces, he refers to apartheid. Now, what apartheid was basically a policy of racial separation, of racial segregation and discrimination. So that was basically the end of this policy, the end of apartheid. So that is the reason he says that we also pay tribute to the security forces who have, like, all the day and night, they have come to secure the first democratic elections and the transition, the change to democracy from monarchy or from dictatorship to a democratic government, from apartheid forces which still refuse to see the light of liberty, the light of freedom, the light of togetherness, the light of hope. The time for the healing of the wounds has come. Now, metaphorically, he says that all the wounds that we have got from the hands of whites, now is the time to heal those wounds. The movement to bridge the chasm that divides us has come. Chasm means a big gap between whites and black. The time to build is upon us. Now is the time to build a society that is without gender discrimination, that is without racialism, that is without this racial separation and racial segregation. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. Political emancipation means that empowerment or act of setting um, free a nation from slavery. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. Pledge means to make promise. We all have promised ourselves to liberate all our people from the continued bondage of poverty, deprivation. Like, we would definitely take our people out from this curse of poverty, deprivation, sufferings, gender, and other discrimination. We would definitely eradicate all these differences. We succeeded to take our last steps to freedom in conditions of relative peace. Relative peace means peace for the nation, peace for the world. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete, just, and lasting peace. And here it shows the hope of Nelson Mandela that no more segregation, no more separation, no more discrimination would be practiced again in this society, in this nation. We have triumphed in that effort to implant hope in the breasts of millions of our people. Impart mean to insert. Hope of freedom, hope of good days. We enter into a covenant that we shall build the society in which all South Africans, both black and white, will be able to walk tall without any fear in their hearts, assured of their inalienable right to human dignity. Inalienable means inseparable rights. That we would definitely build a society in which all the South Africans, though they are blacks or they are whites, they would be able to walk tall, means they would not be oppressed, they would not be discriminated. Rather, they would They would not have any fear in their hearts, and they would not have any fear of inseparable right to human dignity. Their dignity, their self-respect won't be threatened anymore. The rainbow nation at peace with itself and the world. Now, this Rainbow Nation was the name given to South Africa by Archbishop, and his name was Desmond Tutu. And he has given this name to South Africa after the first democratic elections in 1994, when the apartheid ended. Apartheid, I have already told you about. It is basically a metaphor for the coming togetherness of all the different people who live in South Africa, whether they are blacks or they're whites. And probably 11 languages have been, the people of South Africa, they use 11 languages in a single nation. So he says that we would try to build a rainbow nation. This rainbow nation would be at peace with itself and with the world as well. They would not only be peaceful, they would not only be together with one another, the South Africans, blacks and white, he says. Rather, we all would be together. We would promote peace, not only in our nation, not only in our country, in our society, rather in the whole world. As a token of its commitment to the renewal of our country, the new interim means temporary, Government of National Unity will, as a matter of urgency, address the issue of amnesty for various categories. Amnesty means mercy. It is basically a law term. This word is used in the field of law. It is basically a register, which means mercy for various categories of our people who are currently serving terms of imprisonment. So he says that we show the same mercy to the people who are imprisoned, and we would try to do something as soon as possible in this renewal of our country. Renewal means, yes, they have taken a new birth. They are no more in the hands of slavery, rather they have got their freedom. We dedicate this day to all the heroes and heroines in this country and rest of the world who sacrificed in many ways and surrendered their lives so that we would be free. So by sacrificed, he means that those who have supported them, in their um, march of freedom, in their protest of getting the freedom. Their dreams have become reality. Freedom is their reward, the reward of Negroes. We are both humbled and elevated by the honor and privilege that the people of South Africa have bestowed on us as the first president of a united, democratic, non racial, and non sexist South Africa to lead our country out of the valley of darkness. Again, a metaphor, and here he is giving them a, a boosting, he has used some boosting words that would definitely boost the energies of the people living in the South Africa, those who have supported them in the in the protest of freedom for the Negroes. And see how tactically he has dealt with this speech. He has used the words democratic, united, non-racial, and non-sexist South Africa. We understand it still that there is no easy road to freedom. Yes, it took them so long to get this freedom. It took them so long to be free in their own state. We know it well that none of us acting alone can achieve success. So here he again said that we all are united. Together we stand, and united we fall. We must therefore act together as united people for national reconciliation. Reconciliation means national harmony, national nation building, and for the birth of a new world. So, if we want to be known as the country where there is national harmony, the country that is like the nation that has been built, and for the birth of a new world, we all should stand together. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all in Afra. Let there be work, bread, water, and salt for all. This line is basically the theme of his speech. Let there be work, bread, water, and salt for all. Only the whites are not born with these basic human rights. The Negroes, they are they are equally with them on these on the dimensions of these basic human rights. They let there be work for them, let there be bread, water, and salt for them. Let each know that for each the body, the mind, and the soul have been freed to fulfill themselves. They all are now free. Their mind, their soul, their body is free. They can go anywhere, they can feel anything, they can say anything. Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another and suffer the indignity of being the skunk of the world. Skunk is something that is like that smells bad, so a bad smell. Like he says that this state, this nation should not again be the victim of this oppression. It should not be the indignity of being the skunk of the world. The world should not see this nation with with bad eyes, with hatred. Everybody, like all the nations of the world, the peoples of the world, they should embrace, they should open up their arms to welcome this state, South Africa. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. So, my dear girls, that was a very, I would say, easy speech by Nelson Mandela. He has used very plain and easy words just to uh, just to send his message to the world. He has just he has just tried to thank the delegates, the international guests, those who were sitting there, his friends, those who have throughout the march, throughout the protest, have been his stood behind him, stood with him. So that was all for today. And if you have any query, if you have any question, please do ask. And before ending today's lecture, I would like to assign you a home task, and that is you are supposed to compare both the speeches and highlight the differences you find in Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela's speech. You have to work on critical analysis of both the speeches in the area of language, like what was the difference between the language that they have used, both have used, the emotions, the power, like whatever comes to your mind. So you have to compare and contrast both the speeches of these two remarkable figures, Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela. So, dear ladies, that was all for today, and inshallah, I'll see you in our next lecture. Till then, take great care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.